Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for being here on TOMMYBITESTV. As you enter, please hit the like button, share the video out, leave your comments down below. Y'all, you never know when stuff is going to happen, okay? I took my daughter to the store. I told y'all in the last video, which was a live. If you missed it, go back and check it out, that I had taken my daughter to the store. Now, mind you, I forgot to take my nasal iodine spray that I use, this right here. I forgot to squirt my nose before I left, so I just got through squirting it. And I'm also going to use my nifty little nebulizer right here. It's portable. You can take it with you. You can charge it. You just put your drops in like this right here. And of course, I'm wasting it because I can't see what I'm doing. I only have one good eye until I have my surgery. Then close it like this. Close it up. You charge it on the back right there. Take the cap off. You have your timer and everything right here. You could do 10, you could do 15, and it just pours out like this. You could barely hear it. Once a week, I just do this. And you could change up the setting. And I'm telling you, it just clears your passages. You don't have to use, you don't have to use these little valves right here with the medication. You can just use water, just a little bit of water to cleanse, put maybe a little salt in it, cleanse your nostrils like that. Okay, so I'll try to leave a link to this. I got this off TikTok Shop though, but I'll try to leave a link to it over here and a link to this as well. So those are just some ways that I try because, I don't always want to wear a mask. It's about to get hot. I really don't want to wear a mask, but if I have to, I will. But what I won't do is this. I ain't doing that. So a lot of stuff is happening. The reason you are here right now, because I was not even going to do a video, y'all, is because this is breaking. They are doing lockdowns right now. Teens running amok in lockdowns for that. Spring break lockdowns for that. All of this is going to lead to everybody being locked down. Watch how it flow. I'm telling y'all, you can come back to this video. That's what I think is going to happen. And also water, like we're going to have shortages because of this Iran, US, Israel war that's going on. Fuel prices are going up like mad crazy right now. Remember yesterday I told y'all I passed by 3 gas stations, which all were $4.19. But that morning they were $3.89. And so I passed those 3, went to the next one, got gas because it was $3.89. I figured, hey, they're probably going to go up as well. Well, today I went past that same one that I got gas and filled up with yesterday, and they are $4.15. Yeah. So $7 is not unattainable for where we are going by the summer. And so we need to be preparing for all things that are happening. Again, spaghetti against the wall, all distractions for whatever reason, for ushering in whatever they want to usher in by 2030. Okay. Food is going to be running short. And even if your shelves are full, food is going to be running short because it's going to cost so much. It's going to price a lot of people out of buying food. They're going to barely get by with what they have. They're going to try to stretch everything that they possibly can stretch. Gas is going to run short, which means prices are going to go up. Everything is going to go up in price. There are going to be some empty shelves in certain areas around the United States because y'all know the main characters, the villains of the story. I didn't realize that they own so much water. They owned a lot of water. They own a lot of water. So I'm going to show you all of that in this video. So let's.
I'm going to be one of the first people to say this, but energy lockdowns are coming and you better be prepared. With the conflict going on in the Middle East, oil prices are already rising, and countries in Southeast Asia have even started telling their residents to start rationing their energy and electricity. Now you have to couple that with the fact that the United States just got a warning from Iran, basically saying that if we go after their power plants, they're going to go after the ones in Europe. Obviously, that would be horrible news. But if none of that happens, oil will continue to rise just based on this entire conflict and the strait being closed for how long it has been. Now, with the price of oil, everything else is going to go up, including and more so electricity. Just like COVID, they are going to basically tell you that you cannot go to work. You cannot use as much electricity as you're using. They have water bans in some places already, like California, Nevada. Hey, don't consume as much water. They're going to do the same exact thing with electricity, and they're going to monitor it and make sure that you don't use as much.
Okay, so they say Americans are inches away from sweeping 8 p.m. curfews under the public safety emergency rule. Americans could soon be under a strict 8 p.m. curfew as officials declare a public safety emergency. This is a proposed curfew, is already passed 2 votes and will soon be sent to the Congress for consideration. And it's all because teens are out, is what they're saying. And it's about safety. And it's always going to be about safety. They're going to always find a reason to invoke some kind of curfew, but eventually I always feel like it leads to not just the teens, it leads to adults as well. So Washington, D.C. is set to enact a law to put a permanent juvenile curfew in place. The city let the previous under 18 emergency curfew expire this spring, and the mayor temporarily had an extension sunsetted on May 1st. The permanent curfew would be in effect from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. from June to September, and from midnight to 6 a.m. in July and August. The bill also gives D.C. police license to declare extended juvenile curfew zones and implement a 8 p.m. curfew for under 18-year-olds that are gathering in groups of 9 or more. So the bill has passed 2 votes in the city council. As with all DC laws, the bill will be sent to Congress for review before being enacted. Y'all, most likely they're going to pass it because they're all on the same team. So Browser wrote a letter to the council to implement an emergency curfew until the permanent one went into effect, but it was pulled back to lack of support. The intent of the curfew is not to arrest the young people, they say, but it is to keep them safe. So y'all can take that with a grain of salt, but the curfew zones steer young people away from potentially dangerous situations before they escalate, and they protect youth, residents, and businesses. While Bowser opposed an amendment that would stop police from putting teens in detention for violating curfew, you know there's a kind of contradictory dynamic to that, which is that juveniles who misbehave should be held accountable. So to parents, I'm going to say you might want to keep your kids at home. You might want to police your own kids instead of having the government come in and police your kids for you, because there was something out about detention camps being set up in certain areas near Neuralink labs. And if you don't know what a Neuralink lab is, I will link my video to that. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I will link it. Please watch it because it's deep. If you don't want your kid to end up there, you're going to be like, oh, my child's missing. He ain't been here. Well, probably because he's been detained and maybe some things are being tested on them. So you need to think about that and put your foot down with your kids if your kid's one of the ones that's out doing what they're saying these kids are doing. Just something to think about. Okay. So I jump from the lockdowns to the shortage. So the shortage is pretty much everything that you possibly use, but the one thing we definitely need to live is the water. And that being said, we may be facing a water shortage. That's a great way to control people if you think about it.
The next big shortage is going to be water. The big guys have been buying up water rights since the Korean War. There's a reason why Richard Branson, Bill Gates, and a few others own 40% of all the mineral rights in the United States. Not the mineral, they want the water rights. Soon, a cup of water like this is going to be more than a gallon of gas. Everybody knows this.
But when you say soon, how soon? 10 years?
No, 25 to 100.
But these people don't live that long. So why are they?
But that's why some of the guys, not myself, they have already paid their money to be frozen.
I don't think it's going to be as long as he's saying, because he really is on their side, because he be in those meetings. You can't tell me you're in those meetings, but you a whistleblower and they still let you go in those meetings. No, because you're a part of it too.
And come back. Howard Hughes was the first guy. Come back when times are better. There's a bunch of people. Cost you $200-300 grand.
These massive sinkholes are a warning sign that we've entered the era of global water bankruptcy. And there are fears that the system might collapse entirely. This not so cheerful news comes from a new assessment from the UN that I've been reporting on. It says that we're taking out way more fresh water from rivers and lakes than nature is able to put back in. The result, a shopping list of disasters across the planet. Half of the world's largest cities are now experiencing high levels of water stress. Rivers are drying up even before they reach the sea. Lakes are shrinking.
I know that I passed a few lakes when I was traveling, and some of those lakes, you could tell that they are dry. They're drying up, because you look at the people whose houses are right there on the lake, and they have the dock and their boats and stuff, and there's no water under their dock. I mean, absolutely none. Like, not like it's halfway up to the dock. There's absolutely no water under their dock. Like, you literally could just walk out into the muck.
Even seeing some cities literally sinking because so much water is being taken out of the aquifers underneath them. If you want a clear example of how bad things can get, look no further than Iran. Here's what Lake Urmia in the northwest of the country looked like in 1998. And here it is 25 years later. It was once the Middle East's largest lake. Now it's virtually disappeared due to overuse of water by farmers, excessive dam building, and droughts driven by the climate crisis, with massive consequences for the people who live there. And that's only the beginning. Iran's capital, Tehran, only got around 1 millimeter of rain last year, pushing it to the brink of a day zero disaster, which is where a city runs out of water completely. And some experts say these water shortages are one of the factors behind the recent mass protests in that country. But this is just one example of something that's happening all over the world. Now, the report says the reasons behind this water bankruptcy are things like farming, which sucks up 70% of the fresh water used by people, growing cities, massive destruction of wetlands, and simply poor management, all of which are worsened by the climate crisis. And people are worried that the rise of things like thirsty AI data centers will only make it worse. I spoke to the expert who led the report, and the big point he wanted to get over to me was that the global overuse of water and pollution needs to end urgently if we don't want to see society starting to break down. It is a grim picture. He told me he sees a bit of a surprise silver lining too. He said all of this is a chance to bring countries together to take action in an increasingly fragmented world. Because if we can't all agree that us humans need water for life, what can we agree on?
They're calling it water bankruptcy. Apparently, the world is running out of water, and it's almost as if we have been saying this is going to happen, especially with all of the data centers being built in every city. But according to them, it's not just data centers, and I'll get to that in a second. But first, the term water bankruptcy. It means that we're using more water than what's in our system, and it's irreversible, so it cannot be undone. Our ecosystems like aquifers, lakes, and glaciers are damaged to the point where they can never fully recover, and that's where we get our fresh water. We have been pumping it out of the ground and draining lakes, and typically when glaciers melt, they replenish the water to our supply, but our glaciers are just so damaged, so they can't even do that. And the numbers are wild. It says since 1990, we have lost 50% of the water in our lakes. Since 1970, our glaciers have shrunk 30%. 70% of our aquifers have been declining for years, and 75% of the population, all of us, are facing water insecurity, and mostly in the areas that produce our food. And that's what the reports are saying is taking most of our water. They say that 70% of our fresh water goes to agriculture, growing food. And I'm not saying I don't believe the numbers, but I will say, stay with me, that is the perfect reason for governments, scientists, and mega corporations to change the way we grow food. The less water we have, the more lab-grown food experiments that we have to consume. Is that the reason? I don't know. But they've been telling us to conserve water, take shorter showers for years now, but instead we build more tech infrastructure, data centers, and they take so much water to cool down. They're used for internet, cloud storage, AI, and one data center can use millions of gallons of water per day. Back in 2023, Microsoft, there was a disclosure that said that they use 1.7 billion gallons of water per year, and Google was not too far behind them with 5.6 billion gallons. People have been protesting. I know I myself have spoken out about it, but I guess money talks. And if these big companies, they seem like they don't care. Like, I guess they have another planet they are going to just go to and live. And maybe these underground bunkers that they're building are just a facade, like a lie. But don't listen to me. But seriously, like this is a big deal. What are we going to do? They're calling it water bankruptcy. Apparently, the world is running out of water, and it's almost as if we have been saying this is going to happen, especially with all of the data centers being built in every city. But according to them, it's not just data centers, and I'll get to that in a second. But first, the term water bankruptcy. It means that we're using more water than what's in our system, and it's irreversible, so it cannot be undone.
Into the hottest months of the entire year. We already have low snowpack. We're not getting a lot of rain. But for those that do get some rain, what are we doing with it? It's just going right into the ground, which obviously we can't really use it, or it's just kind of flowing into the rivers and going south. But I want to show you something, okay? Look at this right here. This is something I highly recommend. This right here is a collapsible rain barrel. You can get one of these. It's $43 on Amazon. I'll put the link to this down in the description box below so you can go and get it if you want it. But the water goes right into the top here, okay, into that mesh. You can see you can put it under a downspout. You can just stick it out in the middle of a lawn if you wanted to, but it goes down and it collects all the rainwater, which rainwater you're not going to drink. You're probably going to you'll wash things with it, or maybe it's going to help you so you can actually water your plants so you can grow a garden, possibly. I think this is like a 66 gallon barrel. Yeah, it's a 66 gallon product right here. You can see it right there. And so that's a decent size. Just one of those. Okay, just one to help you collect rainwater. That's what people should be doing. Or in an instance where maybe you need drinkable water, look at this right here. This is an emergency water filter straw, or called a life straw, which you can actually take this, stick it right into a lake or a river, and you can drink right out of it.
So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Just wanted to give you something to think about. Will lockdowns be everywhere? I have absolutely no idea. I can't tell the future. That's not my job to do. But what is to let you know that these things are taking place, and it always starts small and it always adds into something, or turns into something more major. They always start with kids, infants, whatever this case, teens, and eventually it'll be, well, we need to, for the safety of everyone, do a lockdown or a curfew per se. And or with all of these different viruses out here now, who knows where this is all going. But in the end, we do know where the power truly comes from. So put your trust, faith, and belief in God. Give it all to Him. Do not worry about what is happening. God has already worked this stuff out. He knows the plan. Although Satan does know the end as well, God will always prevail. So pick a side, choose wisely, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like, share the video out, and leave your comments down below. Peace, love, and light. Thanks for being here on Tommy Bites TV.